about that time to talk about the magic. Sit back, relax, and grab a Dole Whip. It's time to start talking all things Disney. And now, here's your host, Joseph Ballesteros.
Hello, Magic Cheers. Welcome to another Talk About the Magic episode. I am your host, Joseph Ballesteros, and I'm very grateful you decided to spend some of your time with me today, and of course, our wonderful guests that we have on the show today. I am very excited to talk about today's subject. We love going to Disney World. We love going to, the parks and creating memories. Some of us go to create memories with our family. Some of us go to create memories just for ourselves. I do it for both. I take pictures of my kids so I can remember when they're older. But then I also take pictures for myself because it's a stamp in time. It creates a point of, this is where I was on this date, and the feeling, to me at least, when I see those pictures, that feeling I had at that moment always comes back, and that's what makes pictures so powerful. But what happens when you take bad pictures? What happens when you're trying to take that moment and make it into a lasting memory, and you look at it and it's blurry, or there's a finger in the way, or somebody's face got kind of chopped off? Well, today's guest is going to kind of help us go through that, and it's funny because we got a little more technical than I had anticipated, but I loved it because I think it's something for everyone. If you're a novice, photographer, somebody barely getting into it and maybe want to go just take pictures at the park, you're going to get some really great tips here. If you're somebody who's going with family and you're thinking about, how am I going to take a picture with 8 of us in frame, really great tips here. And then if you're more of the seasoned professional and you say, okay, but I'm going to the parks kind of for the first time, how should I be taking these kind of pictures? What should I be doing? You're going to find some great value here as well. I'm very excited, of course, to share our guest today, which is Meaghan from Mickey's Premium on Instagram. And of course, guys, before we get into today's show, I do please want to tell you to check out the end of today's show. Don't just sign off when Meaghan's done, because we still got a whole lot of show, which is, of course, our question for today. And when you answer the question, whether it's right or wrong, you're just giving, your answer, you are entered to win a free Stay Magical t-shirt. If you have not seen the Stay Magical t-shirt, you can head over to Instagram and see what it looks like. Actually, sorry, scratch that. Head over to talkaboutthemagic.com and see what they look like there. And you get a chance to win one for yourself. So a lot of fun there. So let's get into today's show with Meaghan. So finding the perfect place to take a picture at Disney World it can be very difficult. I mean, as it is, you've spent potentially quite a bit of money to actually get there, and then you want to create memories, and you want to create memories that you're going to be able to take with you till the end of your days. That's a lot of pressure to put on our next guest, but I'm very excited to introduce Meaghan from Mickey's Premium on Instagram, who does some phenomenal pictures. She's been on the show before. She's been featured. She's awesome. So Meaghan, I want to kind of break this up into different parks, and I thought, for Meaghan, I remember in particular you were talking about, because you have a lot of the princesses there in the castle and stuff, but you were wanting to take, Cinderella castle and everything, and I just thought, what, Meaghan, I think would be perfect for this subject. So please say hello again to the wonderful Magic Tears, Meaghan, and let them know a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, my name is Meaghan. As you said, I'm from the Instagram account Mickey's Premium. I take photos around Walt Disney World, mostly, of other people and other characters. But sometimes I pop myself on there. I've been doing that for about 3 years now almost, which is crazy. So yeah, you can usually find me either at Universal where I work or hopping around Disney World somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's also fun too. When I went to Disney World, I spoke to a couple of different cast members that actually worked at both parks. I think that's kind of interesting. Yeah, apparently that's kind of a norm, okay thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of people where I work who we absolutely love Disney, but working at Universal is really great, and kind of being able to keep the two separate so the magic of Disney stays alive, and I can just go there for fun is really awesome.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, it's not too bad as far as with Universal being your job or Disney. Both of those places seem to be a fun place to work. So that must be good.
Definitely.
So today, yes, I wanted to talk regarding Magic Kingdom. You know, we go and we take so many pictures. Sometimes we, use the cast members there to take the picture for us. Other times we want to take our own pictures. Some of us use smartphones. Some of us use, high-end camera gear, but we for sure all want the same thing. We want the image we want it to make it count. We want it to be something that's worth hanging on to. So I wanted to kind of go into first some ideas of where you would say, as far as, some good places, I guess, to start in the Magic Kingdom, of kind of the go-to areas where almost for certain there usually is going to come out. You're usually going to get a good picture from it. And then I wanted to also go into some ideas on how to capture the best picture. Whether you're using, not a selfie stick, but kind of like holding your own kind of phone to take kind of a little selfie, or having, somebody take it for you. But just kind of what are the things that you do usually yourself when you're doing this? So let's start off though. What are kind of some key areas that you look for when you're going to take a picture that this is going to be a good spot to take one?
Well, the castle is always probably the most popular one, of course, and that castle looks good from every single angle. So, the ones from the front are always going to look great, but from the side, kind of where Liberty Square is, on the bridge from Liberty Square to Fantasyland, or on the other side, kind of by Tomorrowland. They also have a photo pass over there. If you're just by yourself, you don't have anybody to take a picture of you. So pretty much 360 of the castle. Oh, and by Cinderella's Wishing Well. That's a kind of a more secluded spot. It's not that popular over there by the Wishing Well, which is kind of like by Merida's meet and greet and the bridge from kind of the Tomorrowland area to Fantasyland. So definitely the castle is a great one. I always try to look for like outdoor spots because the lighting is so much better. So like the princesses inside in Princess Fairy Tale Hall and like Enchanted Tales with Belle, those are so much harder because the lighting is literally terrible in there. So always try to shoot for something outdoors if you can, because that natural light is going to be your best friend. So Disney doesn't have that many outdoor characters, especially because it's so hot. But sometimes you'll see them popping up like in the hub grass. I know Mary Poppins is over there sometimes, and sometimes there's like Snow White in the like by Town Square Theater or the other side by City Hall. So definitely try to look for an outdoor location if you can.
Now, you did mention something there I think is interesting that I haven't really taken part of, and it's been a while that it's been there, but for me, I kind of discovered it late. But the hub grass. So the hub grass, if I'm not mistaken, that's kind of that middle section that most people end up kind of going into to watch. Now it's not Wishes anymore, but
Don't remind me.
The Happily Ever After show. Is that correct? That little middle kind of section?
Like right by Casey's Corner and the Plaza Ice Cream Parlor, that little grassy area.
Yeah, because first off, people will lie down on there and everything, and I think like ants, but apparently ants do not live at Disney World.
No, it's fake grass. It's fake grass, so there are no bugs. There's no ants or anything. So it's a very nice spot just in general, not even for pictures, just to like take a seat because you can hear the castle show from there. You can people watch. Like I said, it's right next to Casey's Corner and the Plaza Ice Cream Parlor. So there's some shady spots because it's surrounded by trees. So you can find a little patch of shade and just relax there for a little bit.
I see. Because, I've noticed, like I said, that's become kind of popular, especially on Instagram, people taking pictures there. But so, here, let's take two different kind of, situations here. Let's focus first on that person who's going, alone at the park. They want to take, they have not even maybe high end, but they have a camera that they want to take kind of more of a just visual pictures. They don't necessarily want to be in the picture themselves. They're wanting to capture kind of Disney in itself. What are some recommendations? Because to me, when I'm taking pictures, even if it's of my family, I get nervous because you'll get that person in the background who at the exact moment you take the picture, they kind of look at you and you're just like, oh, I'm not taking a picture of you. I'm sorry. So what are some things that you do to kind of, avoid that awkward stare?
the more you take pictures, the more it becomes like second nature, and you don't even realize like, hey, I'm taking a picture right now. It just is natural. Thousands upon thousands of people every single day take pictures of the castle and everything around Disney World. So it's really, you're not sticking out like a sore thumb, although you may think you are, and I have that feeling a lot sometimes too, especially more during like when I take pictures of princesses and things like that, rather than the castle or the Tree of Life or something more focal. But you'll probably never see these people ever again in your life, and then you'll get a great picture out of it that you're really proud of. So, definitely just go for it. That person will look at you for maybe half a second and then go about their day and not remember it at all.
I see. So just push through that kind of feeling, because I always think that too. I'm just like, oh man, that's awkward. And I see like street, photographers and stuff. At least you're at Disney in this case, but there's people who go out there like literally, and they'll just take pictures of people, and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Taking pictures of other people, that would make me uncomfortable. But if I'm just taking like and I usually wait. Patience is key, really. If you wait for long enough, there will be a kind of a gap in the people, and you can get a good shot without any people in it, but you just really have to be patient. I remember me and my boyfriend once in this bridge between Adventureland and Liberty Square. We waited for like 15 minutes because we wanted to get a photo, and there was that 1 second where there was absolutely no one on the bridge, and we ended up getting it. So definitely patience is a virtue when you're taking photos, for sure.
That's what I was about to ask you. When you're trying to find that shot, you wanted to take a certain style shot or something like that, like what are kind of the things that you do? And right now I guess you kind of answered a little bit there, which is patience is a big key. But I know last time you were on the show we did kind of mention this, but how many pictures do you usually kind of take in hopes of getting that perfect one that you were looking for?
Oh my gosh, I take literally so many, and that's the beauty of a digital camera, especially if you have a bigger memory card. I don't even have that big of a memory card, and I still take a ton. It doesn't even like fill it up, nowhere close. So definitely take as many as you can. It literally costs nothing extra to take 100 versus 1. And even if you have 100 of the same thing, you can just go ahead and select 99 of them and delete them. And it's better than missing that one that you wanted. So definitely take as many as possible. And then I'd say definitely look at your angles. A lot of people just take things straight on, which is great, and that can come out with a great shot. But you may want to go a little bit lower, or because I'm short, I use the screen on my camera and the live view, and I hold it way, way above my head and kind of angle it down or angle it up, and just try to get a different angle than I haven't gotten before, because taking the same picture of the castle can get kind of boring sometimes if it's just the same straight on angle.
Okay, so and that makes sense as far as don't be afraid to just go through those bursts of pictures there. Because it's going to be a lot of editing, but it's worth it in the end.
Definitely.
So what about then that, the family that's going, they're not necessarily 100% the best photography. They maybe have 4 or 5 people in their party. Do you have some tricks as far as simple tricks? Like obviously, you don't want to shoot with the sun, blaring into the camera lens, but also, maybe some things that they could do to kind of crop in better, as far as, because that's a big thing where you'll get maybe 4 people, and even if you ask someone else to take the picture, they'll take a picture, but it ends up that somebody's face was cut off or something. So is it good? Do you have people kind of maybe crouch down, get on their knees in the front? What are some tips you would give when you're taking pictures with multiple people like that?
I would definitely say keep in mind who your subject is. So there's a lot of times where people will say, oh, can you take a picture of us in front of the castle? And the person will be so obsessed with getting the entire castle in the photo that they'll lose track of, the family actually wants a picture of them in front of the castle. So definitely go ahead. It's fine if the castle is cut off a little bit on the top or the bottom, as long as you get a nice family photo of them and you can tell they're in front of Cinderella's castle at Magic Kingdom. I think that's really, really important when it comes to that. Just make sure they're in focus. Yeah, if you can get a shady picture, that's a lot better, because you'll still get that natural light. You don't want the sun behind them, because then they'll be all black, and then if they're looking into the sun, they'll be all squinty. So I always try to find a shady spot whenever I'm taking a picture of somebody.
That's a good point as far as just taking, a picture and making it obvious it's Cinderella Castle, but don't try to get the whole castle. I've seen so many people like just keep backing up before you know it. Exactly, yeah. Before you know it, they take the picture. Then, when they look at it, they're like, oh. So that's a very good point as far as, being able to take it with just obviously Cinderella's Castle. Because it is about the memory in that case. You're not necessarily looking for, just the perfect shot.
Right.
So then, for you, when you go and you take, pictures the way you do, what are some things that you look for? Are you, because I know you kind of take, like you're saying, you have pictures of princesses, of course you have the castle and stuff like that, you have different, angles and everything like that, but what is it you're trying to capture when you are there? Is it just, today I'm going to go take pictures of this place? Or are you trying to say or are are you going kind of by a feeling, or what is it you're going by? Because I know this sounds kind of silly maybe to somebody who doesn't take pictures, but it really is a big deal when you're doing this. You really do put a lot of thought in what you're trying to capture, because anybody could take a picture of stone. It's different when you go and taking a picture of the feeling that the stone is trying to push out. And I just got really deep there, sorry, but but I think you know what I'm trying to say there. So what are some things that you do when you're preparing to take some pictures? What do you do? You kind of prep?
So usually I go to whatever park I'm going to with kind of an idea in mind. So, for example, I went to Hollywood Studios the other day knowing, I hadn't seen the Star Wars show in a while, and I knew Rey was in it. So I just wanted to capture that a little bit. So that'll kind of help me prepare what I bring with my camera, as well as, what I'm going there to shoot. So usually I'll go to shoot some sort of show because I like the kind of action and, the live characters and everything else like that. So any landscape or shots of anything else in the park is kind of a bonus for me. Usually I'll go for a show or the parade or the fireworks or some big monument like that, and then all the other landscape shots will kind of be extra. So those landscape shots are kind of just when inspiration strikes and you're like, oh, I'm looking at that with my eyeballs right now and that looks really pretty and I think that would look good in a picture. So, sometimes I'll even whip out my phone, or if I'm feeling like it, I'll whip out my camera and capture that and hope that it can come out the same way I'm seeing it. Now, getting a little more technical, what is your, it's hard in Florida because you do get overcast, you get water, you get rain, you get, intense heat, you get humidity and stuff. But what is, for the more technical people there who have the camera, that's more than an iPhone, what are your kind of general settings that you usually do first before you start messing around on, what is your lens of choice, your f-stop, your, shutter speed, all that kind of stuff? So if I'm shooting a show where things are farther away from me, I'll use my zoom lens that just came with my camera. I believe it's a 55 to 250 lens. And I'll usually, it depends if it's overcast that day and it's a little cloudy, I'll go on shutter priority. So that way I know nothing will be blurry and I can kind of fix it in editing after. But if it's a nice sunny day, I'll usually go on aperture priority. That way the subject is in focus and then the background is blurry. So I'll put it on the lowest aperture I can. Now when I'm taking pictures of anything else, I'll use a little bit nicer lens, which is my 50 millimeter lens. It's an f1.8, so that'll make it so the subject is really sharp in focus and the background is really blurry. Now, when you're taking a picture and you want to take a picture of an entire scene and maybe you have a little wider of a lens than I do, definitely want to increase that f-stop to maybe even double digits. That will get everything in focus. But usually I like the look where the subject is in focus and then the background's really blurry, so that's why I'll keep my f-stop a little bit lower, around, if I have my 50 on, I'll put it around 2, and if I have my zoom lens, it doesn't go down that far, so it'll be around 4 or 5. And what about fireworks? What do you do with fireworks? Because fireworks look beautiful when they're captured perfectly. So how do you kind of time that to do? So the things like the fireworks shows and the nighttime shows, it's a lot easier if you kind of already know in your head. So for example, Wishes, I knew that thing backwards and forwards, so it was really easy for me to predict which ones were coming next and exactly where I needed to position my camera for that. Now I'm less of a fireworks person, especially with like the whole thing with the tripod and everything else. I did just buy a remote, so I'm getting there. But my boyfriend Ryan is really, maybe you should have him on the show because he's really, really good at that. But from what I understand, if you have a tripod, you definitely want to get a remote for your camera, like a shutter remote, and that way you can manually set how long your shutter is open for, so you can capture that entire fireworks trail. The remotes are super, super cheap. You can find them on Amazon, so if that's something you're looking into, you want to take those beautiful fireworks pictures you see on like Instagram and Flickr, definitely go ahead and invest in a sturdy tripod and then one of those remotes for your camera.
Now, for your mobile, what are you using? An iPhone or a Galaxy Android phone?
Yeah, I have an iPhone 7.
How is that? How do you take pictures there? Is it do you still, like, in other words, I guess what I'm asking is, do you think it's more of a priority for somebody to buy a camera before they go, or you think the phone actually is fine? I mean, obviously, if you're taking pictures just for family's sake, that's different, but do you think these phones nowadays are kind of up to par with, to an extent, because I don't think they could ever be, but to an extent of the more high-end kind of cameras that you purchase?
Yeah, so it really depends. If you're looking to take pictures of like parades and shows and things like that with characters that are farther away, I definitely go ahead and invest in the camera with the zoom lens, because the zoom on your phone, it just can't compare. When you zoom in, it gets all blurry and you can't, zoom in far enough with the picture remaining crisp. So definitely go ahead and invest in the camera. But if you're just looking for, like shots of the general park, shots of the castle, shots of Fantasyland and the carousel and things like that, definitely go ahead and try it out with your phone first. I find myself pulling out my phone more than my camera in those situations, just because it's so much easier and the quality has gotten so good. I'm really tempted to get the iPhone 7 Plus just because they have that portrait mode on there that's really beautiful. So if you're taking pictures of, your family or your kids in the parks, definitely go ahead and try out that portrait mode. It'll give that same effect, like I was saying, with the subject and focus and the background really blurry, but it's on your iPhone, which is really awesome.
And what do you do to deal with people, in the sense of, do you just respect the fact that people are going to get in your way? If you're trying to take a perfect shot, is there kind of a certain thing that Disney wants you to kind of abide by? Obviously, especially when we get into, because I'm thinking in particular, was one time we were watching, it was in the evening, we were watching Wishes, and I remember this person, they ended up doing, I think, the right thing, but in the beginning, they were with their little, like, it wasn't a selfie stick, but it's a little stick with a camera attached to it, and they were in the front, and they were just pretty much blocking anyone behind them, because they just were lifting it up. And I was like, oh my gosh, what are they, like, this? That's obviously people spend thousands of dollars to come here, and to not get your view perfect because somebody's lifting a camera can be frustrating. So he ended up moving to the side, and it was better because there was nobody behind him or nothing. But what are some things, I guess, good practices you would suggest when you're going to be taking pictures at the park?
So I think, again, it all comes back to patience and just kind of setting your expectations. So when I go watch the fireworks, especially because I'm short, I'm only 5'1" 3/4. So I'm pretty much know when I go to watch the fireworks, like, there's no way I'm going to get the perfect view 100% of the time. So I just go into it automatically with that mindset. Also, if you have the time to camp out for a good spot that, behind a railing or something. So, for example, in the hub, there are 2 flower beds off to either side, kind of near the partner statue. If you stand, like, right behind one of those flower beds, right on the railing, that's a really good spot because no one will be in front of you for, an extra 100 feet or so. So if you can go ahead and camp out, it's going to be for a while, probably an hour now with these new fireworks. But definitely go ahead. If you're only there for a couple days out of your trip and you don't know when you're going to make it back and you really want that perfect view, definitely go ahead and camp out for that spot pretty early.
Now, I feel like we went a little too technical with this show, and we haven't talked enough about Disney. So I do want to get back onto Disney. What are some of your favorite things? What is your favorite pictures that you've taken? The style of pictures you've taken?
My favorite, and the one that started my account and will always be my favorite, is the Festival Fantasy Parade. Every single picture is different all the time, especially if you watch it from different spots every day. And it's just so colorful and lively and fun, and the music's great, and it has so many princesses in it. So I absolutely love the Festival Fantasy Parade. I haven't shot that one in a really long time. It makes me sad. I'm kind of having withdrawals because that's truly what started my account, and that's all I would post. I even, for a while, made a separate Instagram account just because I had too many photos and I wanted to share them all just of Festival of Fantasy. So I absolutely love that parade, and the lighting's always really good, which is awesome.
And what would you say then for somebody who's going now just to, take pictures and everything like that? What would you say is a kind of good way to get the attention of a cast member who's maybe in costume and stuff? Or is there really no way? Is it just kind of a luck of you just taking the multiple pictures? Or, do you yell at them? Or do you say, you're my favorite, to kind of get them to look? What are some tricks that you would say to pass along?
So honestly, the best way to get them to look at you is either like dress up like them, or like Disney bound, something like that. That usually gets their attention. But if this is not my personality, I know Ems would do this all the time because that was definitely her personality. Definitely scream at the top of your lungs, wave them down, be like, I love you, Rapunzel, I love you so much. And they will definitely look, and they will definitely make eye contact with you and smile and wave. So that's honestly the best way. Now, like I said, that's not really my style. I like to be more in the crowd. So if you can stand next to somebody who's doing that, or like a really cute little kid or something, that usually works out really great for me. Otherwise, just always keep your lens on that subject at all times, and keep snapping away, because you never know when they'll make a brief eye contact with you, and then that's like the best shot ever.
And what are some of your favorite stores to go into, as far as when you're... Because the stores, to me, could be just as photogenic. I don't know if you've ever been... if you've ever thought about going in and taking pictures of the stores. I know, if you go to Disney Springs, you go to the World of Disney there. It's an incredible Disney store compared to one that you find at the mall. But what are some places that you like to visit when you're at Magic Kingdom, as far as... Maybe not even just take pictures. Let's just say in general, because they have a really cool, feel to it.
I definitely like the kind of gift shop at the end of Princess Fairy Tale Hall. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of cool merchandise, and they also have this little mini figurine. She's kind of probably about 3 feet tall, and they dress her up all the time. I believe now she's either in an Elsa dress or in a princess dress. I really like right next to the carousel. That little gift shop is really fun. I try not to go into gift shops as much, because then I get too tempted, and I'm like, no, Meaghan, you can't spend any more money at this place, more than you're spending right now on your annual pass. So my weakness is more food, too.
I think at Disney, that's everybody's weakness. It's incredible.
My gosh. I try to bring my own snacks and sandwiches, and then I just break down and go to Pecos Bill anyway. So sorry, it's got a little off track.
No. That's very true. With Disney, it's always the same. It's just, you got to enjoy the food.
Yes.
So yeah, the thing is, I was saying, looking at the pictures you have so many princesses actually seems to be looking right at you when you're taking the pictures, and some of them look like they know that you're taking a picture, and then there's other ones who are kind of just mid parade or mid dancing or something kind of deal, and it's just coincidental. So here's my question. Let's to keep it Disney. What is who's your favorite princess to photograph?
I'd say it's either tied between Cinderella and Rapunzel. They're just my favorite princesses in general. Rapunzel is always really, really fun. She makes the best faces, especially with her little frying pan in the parade. So they're my two favorite ones to meet. They're my two favorite ones to take pictures of. But that's very hard, because I love all the princesses almost equally, besides those two that are just a little bit higher on my list.
So before we get into, toward the end here, I do want to go into this other tips that I, forgot about, and I'm remembering now, which is what are some do nots when you are taking pictures, as far as, when you're going in there with a camera, what are some things that it's just bad taste? You don't want to do these kind of things.
I'd say when you're taking pictures of somebody else, try not to do it in a super crowded area and then block the entire walkway and make everybody stop. I usually try to find a kind of out of the way spot. That way you're not making everybody stop and then people aren't, walking in front of your picture and then there's a traffic jam. So definitely be mindful of the people around you. As far as like the princesses and stuff like that, especially if you're meeting them and you're like, hey, can I get a quick picture of you? Try not to make it last forever because there's a lot of, little kids in line that want to meet their favorite princesses too. So I think it all just comes down to be mindful of the people around you. Everybody's there for kind of the same reason, to have that once in a lifetime trip, and you don't want to accidentally, ruin that for somebody or leave a bad taste in their mouth. Through no fault of your own, I'm sure you don't mean it, but just be mindful of kind of where you are. And it's hard sometimes when you're looking through a lens and not looking in real life to see kind of what's around you. So just stop, take a moment, kind of look around and see where you are in regards to the people around you.
So let's run through these again. Where are kind of your go-to spots in Magic Kingdom when you're trying to take that perfect picture?
So definitely all around the castle, everywhere. Anywhere outdoors really is great. Flowers and characters outdoors and things like that. Something we haven't mentioned that's a really big phenomenon now is the walls. The walls of Disney.
Very true.
Everywhere is a wall. So, I really love them. I think they're a nice way of, like I mentioned, I like the subject to be in focus and the background blurry. So that's kind of a nice background to have. So if you have something specific you're taking a picture of, to have a nice, plain purple wall or like the bubblegum wall or whatnot in the background. I really like the walls. I know some people are annoyed by them, but I think they're fun.
Yeah, that is becoming a thing on Instagram for sure. We're seeing a lot of the walls, and it's funny because, what I do like is the fact that it is bringing attention. I mean, Disney does so much detail and so many things that we just walk past without even thinking, and yeah, it's actually a perfect spot maybe to take that picture. So definitely something to look into. But so before we do sign off here, I'd love if you could give all your information, because again, guys, the account on Instagram in itself is just incredible. It's just, Meaghan is awesome, of course, and I'm honored that she's been on the show as much as she has, and I'm glad that we've been able to contact each other through Instagram. But even if I didn't know Meaghan, I would still be following this account because it's really, really, really good quality photos. But if you could just share your information before we sign off here.
Yeah, so my Instagram is Mickey's Premium, like the ice cream. That's also the name of my Twitter as well, if you want to follow me on there. If you're more of a Facebook person, I also have Facebook. It's just Mickey's Premium. On all these three things are links to everything else that I have, like Flickr, Snapchat, whatever else exists. I probably have it under the name Mickey's Premium or something else. So just type that in and you're bound to find me there.
Yes, and I do love the fact that you do share so much, and you're there at the parks, you're there at Florida, and you're enjoying yourself, and it's really cool to be able to watch, your stories and stuff where you share different stuff. So I want to thank you for coming on today, spending the time with myself and the Magic Cheers, and of course, giving them some fantastic advice. It became a lot more technical than I expected, but you know what? But I love it because I think this is something that they could really use when they visit the park again, because sometimes you just get that one trip every 3 years, and so you want to make the most of it. So Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It was really fun.
Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-doo-dah, day, zip, zip. Zippity-zippity-doo, zippity-doo, zippity-doo-dah, zippity-doo-dah, day, zip, zippity-zippity-zippity-doo-dah.
It is time, of course, to get into today's question, or the question of the day, depending how you like to say those kind of phrases. I'm excited because this is our first one that we're doing here, and I really, really look forward to you guys getting involved and hopefully winning a free t-shirt. Hopefully you guys like the shirt. I got them. I had, my own, and then I got a professional designer to do it because mine was just not that good. So they did an awesome job. I really like it. So hopefully you guys will like it too. But today's question is going to be, where is your favorite place to take a picture when visiting the parks? And here's the beauty of this question. If you've never visited the parks, that's okay. You just need to answer, where do you think would be, or where's the place that you want to take a picture when you do finally get to visit? All you have to do is head over to Talk About the Magic onto this episode, which is going to be episode number 174. Head over to talkaboutthemagic.com. You could search there, 174. Scroll down. Of course, this will all be in the show notes as well. But scroll down and you will find the question for today. You will see there the area for you to answer the question of today. Put in your answer, put in information, and I will randomly do a draw to find the person who wins, and whoever wins, you'll get an email from me letting you know that you've won. And of course, I got to find the size and everything like that you're wanting so I can send it to you right away. So I really hope you guys will check it out. Again, where is your favorite place to take a picture when visiting the parks? And it can be any of the parks, or if you've never been, where would you want to take a picture when you finally do get to visit? I really hope you enjoyed today's show. Remember, you can find all of this and more over on talkaboutthemagic.com. Of course, every single day, Monday through Friday, I should say, not every single day, but Monday through Friday, I'm still doing Daily Disney over on Instagram, which of course is instagram.com/talkaboutthemagic, and you'll see daily updates there, Monday through Friday, of news going on with Disney. So if you're on Instagram, somebody uses Instagram, please be sure to follow me there as well, so you don't miss any of the daily Disneys we do there. I really hope you guys have a wonderful night, day, weekend, whenever you are listening to this. And as always, stay magic.
This was the Talk About the Magic podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and share with a friend. Thanks for listening, and as always, stay magical.